Francisco on September 8th and 9th. We'll be in New York on October 13th and 14th. Back in Miami for Art Basel, which is really a fantastic event. We're doing a 2-day event in Miami. We've sold out every event we've done in Miami for like 10, 15 years running. So we expanded to 2 days, and we'll do a 2-day event in Miami on November 29th and 30th. So if any of you guys know Art Basel, you want to be there early. That's when the business happens. Of Art Basel, and then after that is where the kind of retail and the beginning of December happens for Art Basel. Great event. We also intend to be in Los Angeles December 15th and 16th if we can fit it into our schedule, and we definitely have a very hard committed date to be in San Francisco during JP Morgan Healthcare Week, which is one of our favorite times to be there. So look forward to seeing you guys in person and online. And Shailja, how are we doing?
I'm sending it to you. I'm having some trouble, so I'll just send it to you.
Oh, you want me to show the deck for you?
No, I'm just sending it to you. Just give me one. Sorry about that. I don't know what was going on.
Are you logged into Zoom?
Yeah, no, I'm having trouble logging into Zoom, but you have the deck, so we can just project from here.
Great. Let me try to find your deck, and then
I just sent you something which has video as well.
Oh, the video as well?
Yeah.
Sometimes larger videos take a while to get to me. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. I'm just not able to log.
Are you on the network?
Yeah.
Okay, just go to zoom.com. Do you have a Zoom client?
Yeah. That's simple.
And just log into the Zoom client, put in your sign in, put in your password, your name and password.
Yeah, something was going on with my password. That's okay. You should have it. Don't you have it?
I don't have it yet. Should I just pull up the other deck that you sent me without the video?
It doesn't have the video. That's the problem. So it didn't come in?
No, if it's more than 10 megabytes, it's going to take a while to get to me.
Video.
By the way, folks, I just want to tell you that we had an outstanding dinner party last night with 45 people, several family offices. Probably more than half the people at the dinner were family offices. So we were at a great New York steakhouse, and we expect to repeat the same. We're in Silicon Valley in September. I'm just waiting for Shailja to log in.
Sorry about that.
So we can get started.
It didn't come through till now? If it came to you, it's easier that way.
Yeah, if there's a file that's larger than 10 megabytes, it's going to take a while to get to me.
Hang on, I don't know why my Zoom is just not working, and you didn't get it, right?
No, I haven't gotten it, no.
No? No?
Nope.
Okay, hold on, let me just set this up. I didn't realize that. No?
No, it's not going to come. It's going to take a while to get to me. So what I can do is open up your deck, and we can just go with that.
Yeah, that's...
Because we're running out of time.
Okay.
So let me just do a share.
Okay. Would you tell me if in case it comes in between?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because the video is important. I don't think so. It's not gonna... Okay, I'm gonna get started. Unfortunately,
Perfect.
the video is actually, I can't present without the video. Okay, and Marty, if you please tell me if in case the video comes in between, right?
Yep.
So, this is actually unfortunately not my original deck, but I'll try to see how I can make it interactive. I had some stuff for you all to look at. So the first and most important thing is it didn't come through Marty yet, right?
No.
Because this is really not the deck I had. So anyways, I think the most important thing is I wanted to draw your attention to something that had recently happened. One is that Naomi Osaka, I don't know how many of you have been following the news, she walks out of French Open stating that she needs a break from her mental health, and this is good for her. A few days back, just after a few days of this announcement, Roger Federer, who I'm a big fan of, decides to walk out of French Open as well because he wants to take a break and he had a surgery in his knee, and that's good for his health. So my question here is, what's wrong in this picture, or what's right in this picture? And that's what I'm going to talk about.
Most sports athletes want to be on this time.
Yes, okay.
About right?
Yeah. The problem here is, us not realizing that mental health has an equal impact on a player or anyone's performance as a physical health. When knee, more so, absolutely. When a knee is not working, we are okay with the player walking out. But if a player says, I am mentally not feeling that I'll be able to perform, we are not okay with that, right? So that's the problem with mental health. It's a lack of recognition because it's not something apparent. When I walk inside this room, I'm not limping, everything looks fine, and we think that a person who has a mental illness going on is absolutely okay. And that's what I wanted to draw your attention to today, and that's what our company is about. Curio Digital Therapeutics, I'm Shalda Dixit. I wanted to start with this statement because this is something that has recently happened. I'm a physician by training, have been in pharma industry for 20 plus years with some big pharma, biotech, and I started this digital therapeutic company, which is a new class, somewhere in between a medical device and a biotech, about 3 years back. Curio Digital Therapeutic is, if you go on the next slide, Marty, thank you so much. Yeah, the next one, please. Curio Digital Therapeutic, we are based in Princeton. We are a women's mental health company, so solely focusing on women's mental health. And the intervention is delivered through an app, which is actually in FDA's definition a class 1 or class 2 device, because we deliver intervention. Our goal is to go across the behavioral health continuum in all ages in women's health. So the circle that you see on displayed on your slide or your laptop here, that's our vision, to go across women's life cycle and look at every aspect of mental health across her life cycle. We believe, and there's enough data, that women's mental health is different. There is a mind-body connection. What I mean by that is there is a physiological and mental connection more so established in women than men and adolescents. The second aspect is that because of the societal and other aspects, women are more predisposed to mental health than men. They are at higher risk because of many aspects. So that's why our mission, and we are very passionate about it. I have a co-founding team. My other partner is a board-certified OBGYN who has worked in population health, and then we have a seasoned other technology team on our background. We do have established clinical trial data through a randomized control trial, what we call. So this has been tested on about 300 plus women and showed statistically significant improvement on depression and anxiety symptoms. So we have our partners, University of Cumbria, Health Innovation Technology Lab in New York, It's a lab in collaboration with Columbia University, Mount Sinai are our current collaborators, and we are ever expanding network of our collaborators. Go on the next one, please. Thank you. We can actually skip this one. Why women's health is so important. The most important thing about women's health is women's health area is gaining a lot of traction. When our society is 50% and more women, it is high time that we start focusing dedicatedly on women's health. So this is an area which is growing leaps and bounds. We are very passionate about behavioral and mental health aspects. As I said, 1 in 5 women in U.S. experience a mental health condition. This is even more so with pandemic. There are a lot of data and studies that have shown that the impact has increased about 20% more than what was in pre-pandemic time. So a really, in fact, it has been stated as a growing pandemic. You might have seen many mental health companies come up in last few years, actually 2 years. Telehealth has become, so digital has become a widespread adoption in coming times. More so with pandemic, people have realized that, telemedicine does work, digital does work for healthcare. And there is a recognition from actually payers, a large insurance company, as well as FDA as a separate class of products that can work. Okay. If you go on the next one, Marty. So what do we do? This is our mission. The first one is going all across women's life cycle and every social setting. So we believe one of the key advantage of digital is it makes healthcare accessible for every social setting. That's an important aspect. The second is integrating the mental and physical health. Unfortunately, what has happened in our healthcare system, not that it's already not quite broken, we have separated the mental and behavioral health. Our plans are different, our payment structure for two is different. It doesn't work that way because physical health has to be as integrated with mental health like any other thing. That's very important. The next is we empower women to make their decisions. So we provide the tools in their hand to take control of their healthcare. And last but not the least, because we have algorithms on the back end which personalize the treatment for a woman as they are going through the journey. Okay.
Are you going to demo this product? Is it like a workflow? Or
Yeah, I actually had the video. That's why that video was very important. And unfortunately, it has not come to you, right?
I can't find it while I'm showing your deck.
Okay, so we'll try to see if we can find it, because in the video actually I had a presentation and I didn't realize. Yeah, but Marty, if it comes, maybe you can even come out of. Okay.
Find it.
Okay. So this is our team. Our team is again a very seasoned team to deliver. I'm there. I'm a physician, as I said, by training. Dr. Eliza Neng, who has been in biotech and has been in population health. Raj, who has led many operating aspects of many big healthcare companies. Sid is a technology guy. He has had many exits in past. Erin Russell, she has made actually a very interestingly, presenter before me, a cosmetic digital platform. She's part of our team, and then we have a CFO who's based in West Coast, very seasoned in startups. If you go on the next slide, one. So we have a very qualified board supporting us as well. Ann Whitaker is our board of director and chair. She used to be CEO of Sanofi North America. Dr. John Pielene was CMO of Sanofi. He's on our board as well. Dr. Bob Honnenberg, again, was CMO of GE Healthcare, so comes from device side. Dr. Catherine Monk is a behavioral expert in OBGYN. So she actually, her area of work is in the intersection of women's health and mental health. Mark Devlin and Dr. Stan Kachnowski, who's very well known in digital healthcare space. So we are very fortunate to have their guidance as we go through this. If you go on the next one, Marty. What do we have? Again, I'm hoping that we will be able to exit out of it and I'll be able to show you actually the workflow, which explains quite a few, but our solution has three essential components. So walking you from the, left side to the right side of the screen, on the back end is a AI and analytics. So we have artificial intelligence and machine learning, which personalizes and delivers and very interactive interventions to patients. On the middle, what you see is a browser-based, I would say, a population health view. So if a care manager or a nurse manager or social worker wants to see what patients are doing, it's like an alerting system. So you see that green, red, that tells them how a patient is performing. Last but not the least, actually, is our, is Stella, the one which you see in red skirt, and that's, the video is all about Stella. Stella is our product. So we have humanized our product, and Stella guides the woman through her journey, as she's going through various aspects in mental health. Our first indication is around postpartum depression, because it's a huge problem. About 40% or so women who go through pregnancy have some kind of postpartum blue or postpartum depression. And if not taken care of, about 20% of them end up into having a full-blown psychosis or a residual mental health issue.
I'm sorry, give me those numbers again. How many employees?
40% of women who get pregnant have some kind of postpartum blue to depression. Okay?
What percent get psychotic episodes?
About 15 to 20% of those end up having a residual impact if not taken care of. Okay? When we looked at the database, working with some really large insurance companies, we found out about 70% of these 70% of the women have some kind of indicators that can be identified as early as second trimester, 70%, right? It's a huge number. Indicators of postpartum depression that can be identified in second trimester, right? It's as big as that. And we are in discussion with some very large insurance companies for early identification and intervention today. Most likely in next 2 months, we'll be able to launch some pilots with some large insurance companies.
So you have an AI that kind of detects that by
Yes.
interacting?
Yes. So we have a proprietary algorithm that can do early identification, and then the intervention gets fired up from there on.
So it'll save you the doctor's visit.
It will save you the doctor's visit. These women spend about $7,000 to $10,000 more cost-wise to an insurance company during their pregnancy episode, when every other indicator is similar. So when we looked at the data, the cohort of women or the group of women who have postpartum depression cost about $10,000 more in 9 months time period, right? So it's a huge, if you multiply it with number of women who get pregnant, the amount becomes quite large, okay? And this is completely avoidable. I won't say that you can avoid in all of them, but it's definitely avoidable in a subsegment of them who are not at a severe category and can be avoided.
Is the postpartum depression age specific?
It's independent of age. There are other markers, like having previous anxiety, having previous mental health episode, having a chronic condition when you get pregnant, previous live births and whatnot. Those are some. There is a very big race issue. When we looked at some data from socioeconomically deprived population and age and ethnicity, believe it or not, it's about 60% of the women are predisposed when you look at that particular subcategory. 60% who get pregnant. Yes. Huge.
So it's not racial then, it's socioeconomic?
No, socioeconomic as well as race, ethnicity, both.
Okay.
Which are, it's interrelated to some degree, right? We find, that's what our analysis is.
I wouldn't make that comment ahead of a
No, it's whatever, I'm just talking purely, I'm an epidemiologist, so I'm talking from a pure number perspective. Nothing more than that, right? Yeah. These are data, and there is enough, literature out there, that we are talking about. That's all. So my comments are purely data, which we are publishing and we are working with, okay? That's all. That's a very good question. The good thing is in the United States, every woman that gets pregnant is covered in insurance in her term of pregnancy and 1 year post-pregnancy, okay? out 37 Medicaid programs, I'm boiling down to Medicaid, commercial as well, by the way, 37 of Medicaid programs in United States have declared, as of, it has been happening over the last few years, but as of last year, that they are going to tackle postpartum depression as one of the key issues. In fact, ACOG, American College of OBGYN, calls it fourth trimester. So pregnancy should not end in third trimester because the impact is so huge that they have called it care in fourth trimester, that women's care need to continue even after childbirth for at least one more trimester.
So is the
If
issue,
that answers.
is the issue that people are having, it's a speed to diagnosis? Is that the issue? Or, I mean, because Americans, I think 65 million Americans take psychopharmacological drugs, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. So you are absolutely right. There are twofold things. One is speed to diagnosis, right? These women don't get diagnosed at the right time because, A, we don't have integration of behavioral services in OBGYN office, right? I would, many of us have gone through this experience either directly or indirectly, with our children, partners, family members or friends. We don't have integrated behavioral services at point of care. That's one problem. It's not like the tools for diagnosis doesn't exist. The guidelines are there that diagnosis needs to happen, but it does not happen. When we are working with this, again, big insurance company, we have 20% of the women who have misdiagnosis. 20%. Actually, it's about like 17.8. I'm rounding it to 20% misdiagnosed. Okay, so that's one issue. The second issue is access issue, right? Many of these women, mental health is not on the top of their mind. I would also say somehow in our society, we have made childbirth as only a happy event, right? So there is a societal stigma that child is born and childbirth is supposed to be happy. These are all, sorry, I'm again not taking name of one company, but all of these beautiful ads where childbirth has to be a happy event. And then you are telling a woman that I'm actually depressed. I'm not feeling that this event is anyway happy for me. So that, society has also made sure that we don't acknowledge this very openly.
So
Right.
are you saying that all those videos of women giving birth in water isn't necessarily true? People watch it, what kind of video?
Yeah, I don't know what are those videos, but all I'm saying is that definitely many of us know like the J&J and Pampers and diaper ads, right? They're all happy ads.
That's a question.
Yeah.
What has been the reaction of the skeptical attention? How does
Very, very good question. So I'm going to answer the second one first, and then I'll go to your first one. So we are actually partnering with a large insurance company. As soon as the claim hits an insurance company, they are able to identify a pregnancy-related event is going to happen, and that's how we are accessing. So we are not seeking out direct-to-consumer yet. We are actually going through the big insurance companies, employer programs, and eventually even providers. So that's one thing. We do plan to go direct to consumer, but not in our first go-to-market strategy. And we are all.
in something like postpartum depression? Very radical thing. Could be. And then, therefore, then you go to gynecologist in one. Go to a psychiatrist. Psychiatrist going to be. MSW. That'd be a tool to this,
Yes,
or a substitute to this.
that is so beautifully said. No, but
Insurance with the payers.
so, but what you are saying, MSW, we have a study that we will be launching at Mount Sinai, and we are actually going to the OB office there. I can talk about it because it's signed, we have signed with them. I only have 5 minutes of this. But we are going through their social worker. So today they don't have tools. These women never go to a psychiatrist because that's not on top of their mind till they're severely depressed. So we are providing this as a tool from a provider practice perspective. We are looking at OBs, but primarily insurance and OBs, but they are sitting in OB offices, right? Okay, we can go to the next one if that's okay. I do have to answer, but I'll answer your question, the second one. So if you go on the next one, this is our pathway. We are actually looking at postpartum depression, then we have contraception and mood swings. We are also looking at fertility, infertility, and perimenopause, menopause. So those are more in a conceptual phase. Our most advanced one is actually postpartum depression. We can, some data from our study, I think a question was, does digital work? So we have done randomized control trial, and we have shown statistically significant impact on depression and anxiety, two key markers, through validated instruments or measuring tools, as we say.
But there's no behavioral modification involved.
There is, we deliver cognitive behavioral. The principles are cognitive behavioral therapy in the background, right? So if you go in the next one, we can, on the back end, yeah, we can talk about this. We are getting some early commercial traction. We are already in discussion with some large insurance companies. We are in discussion with some large providers as well, as I said, Mount Sinai and Columbia. Pharma is also, many pharma who are focused on women's health. We have been talking to them too. Bayer is a big one. We are also in discussion with Organon and some others to find out, like, you know, whether there could be a partnership. And we are most advanced actually working with some payers. If you go on the next one. This is a little bit more detail. Actually, this slide deck was meant for download more than presentation, so I can skip some of it, but, you know, yeah, you can go to the, sorry, Marty, go in the back, previous one. This slide talks about a little bit about competitive positioning. There are many companies which are talking about mental health, but there is no, and there are many companies who are talking about women's digital health, right? There are many consumer apps. Where we distinguish ourselves as there is no company that is actually a medical device level and delivers the intervention and women's behavioral health. That's our distinguishing factor. I also want to throw one more data point. Day before yesterday, one of the companies, Pear, that you see, they announced going public. They're not too far ahead of us in terms of the data that they have at 1.6 billion valuation via a SPAC, okay? So this industry is becoming pretty important. You know, there is a well-known recognition that especially for mental health related issues, digital therapeutics do work. And there is a clear pathway at FDA, dedicated division that has been made for these kind of efforts. So if you go to the next one. Yeah, you can go to the next, just last one. I'll show some financial data, sorry.
The financial one?
Yeah, this one, the series seed. So we are seeking again, you know, this is our financial summary. We plan to actually generate about approximately 4 million next year. We are in well positioned for that. And then there is an upward trajectory because we are pre-commercialization today, this year. We'll be commercialization next year. And then we plan to add more products as we go on. If you go on the next one, Marty, then that's my last slide. We just closed 1.1 Series A through a group in Europe, and we are still seeking for our Series Seed, you know, about 1.5 to 2 million more. But we have simultaneously launched our Series A, which we are trying to raise 10 million more to get ready for commercialization. So that's 1.5 seed. Yeah. These are preferred. We already closed at 12.5 million pre-money, 1.1 million we have closed already. 1.5 to close our seed, 1.4 precisely to close our seed. Thank you, please. Actually, I had 12 slides. Yeah, so your suggestion well taken. Actually, these are not my presentation slides. Some technology glitch happened. I only had a video for you all. That's all. So, but well taken. The competition, as I said, we have not seen any company today in women's mental health. So there we don't have competition, but there are yeah, actually the Dario ex-CEO is on our board. So Olivier Jarry, he's on our board. Yeah, so Dario is not our competition because they are in diabetes, but we know Dario very well. Yeah.
What's the barrier to entry?
Sorry?
The barriers to entry?
The barriers to entry is all of our evidence, and we also have 3 patents that we have filed.
Has the board members been involved in investing?
Yes. The John P. Lene is the one who has led the 1.1 million investment.
What is your take-out strategy?
Sorry?
What is your take-out strategy?
Exit strategy. So we have multiple exit strategies. It could be a public offering because there are 2 companies that have gone public who are not too ahead of us. 1.6 billion, as I said, we'll see how market responds. And then exit is actually discussion with, which we are already in discussion because this market is so hot with some publicly traded pharma companies. And those early discussions, we are already there. We don't feel that it's too early for us, we feel, but there are companies who have approached us for some early acquisition and mergers. We'll see. Thank you.
Fantastic.